Welcome back to Less Cash, More Mash. My name's Tom,
My name's Mike.
and today we have another addition to the collection, Lord Calvert Canadian Whiskey. Now, we have yet to have a Canadian whiskey come up here. So this was a 1.75 liter, and it was approximately $16.99. So I can't see, I wish I could. All right, so normally Canadian whiskey is distilled in held in a barrel for at least a minimum of 3 years. The thing that it's usually made up of the same corn, barley, and rye, but they're actually distilled and matured differently. They're not all combined like in a. Not always, but often they're not combined into one. Let me see. I was trying to do a little quick look at the different things. So, what are you doing? They're also normally called rye, but in a rye, when you have a rye, it normally has to be at least 51% rye in the actual mash, where a Canadian whiskey, it can have any amount, but a lot of times they're referred to as a rye whiskey. But we haven't tried one of these yet, so we figured we would give it a try to see how it compares to the ones we've had.
I don't know if I've had too many Canadian whiskeys, to be honest with you, other than probably Irish Mist.
Yeah,
That's
was
Bob's favorite.
Canadian. Yep. No. Yeah, I've actually had quite a few because when we're driving around the country and I was buying different stuff. Sometimes some of the places, like I can honestly say, when I went to New York, the same thing I would buy for $15 here was like $35 there. And sometimes I would gravitate towards the Canadian ones because a lot of times you'll find them and they're cheaper than a lot of the bourbons. You can usually get a handle for like that, for like $16 as opposed. To me, they don't usually hold as much flavor or taste.
Smell.
It's gonna be totally different than like when we drink the bourbon. To me,
Sure.
to me, I almost get like more of I want to say like a vanilla. It's more of a sweet smell.
It could be. I don't know about vanilla. It'd be maybe brown sugar more than. You don't get a huge like alcohol smell.
I'm not really getting the brown sugar either, though. I'm getting more of a.
It could be vanilla. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It smells like a white cake to me. That's what it, like if you not a chocolate cake, but like if you if you're having like a vanilla flavored. To me, it's like almost like the frosting. You know when you get like the frosting that you don't usually like because it's too sweet. That's what it reminds me of when I'm smelling. I'm smelling like that. Like if you sniff the cake with the white frosting. That's what I'm getting out of it. Let's give it a try.
I'm not getting that totally different flavor that you said. Are you?
Oh yeah.
I'm not getting. What are you getting? Like a totally different from? I don't. It's not like I'm thinking you're saying it's.
No, I'm not getting the traditional bourbon taste where it ends up with that. And I equate it to it's whatever because I can't distinguish what it is. It could be the oak, it could be the stuff, but I'm not getting like the that caramel finish. To me, this was a lot lighter. It tastes a lot like it smells, but I think even like say early times of Kentucky Best, where we thought it was more on the smoother side, like the wetter side going down, like it didn't leave you a lot of flavor. It actually reminds me of the Tennessee one, but I think that one has a bunch more flavor than what the Trader Joe one.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot more of the caramel flavor. This reminds me more, which is I thought this is what it was going to.
But it doesn't have that punch that like.
No.
It doesn't have that that the Jack Daniels like. Here it is. It's got. I think it has more flavor than JD. For whatever reason, I always go back to that one, but it's just. It seems like a smoother. It doesn't leave that huge tingle.
It definitely doesn't have any punch whatsoever. It doesn't taste like any alcohol forward. It has a lot easier drinking, but it doesn't. I'm trying to equate it to when I used to drink all the time. Like I used to revert back to 10 High because, and we can always do a small split of that. To me, 10 High had a burst of that flavor. If you compare it to this one for sure, I hate being able to only use one hand. If you compare it to this one for sure, and this is $15.99 a bottle, but this is a sour mash bourbon. And you smell this one and smell that one. They're not even, it's night and day. They're not even anywhere close.
To me, you can get a brown sugar out of this one, I think.
To me, it's a lighter and a sweeter.
No, I don't get really anything out of this one. I'm not getting a flavor out of that one.
No?
Maybe my nose is going wacky, but I can smell. Maybe it's the
cup. It's a difference in the glass. I'm telling you.
It's a cup because you smell.
We're hoping. Well, I have it over here, but.
I know.
Oh no, your glass actually is better.
I don't really get any scent out of this, and that to me, out of them, you get a way better.
Stay tuned. We got some Glen cans coming, and I want to see if it actually makes a difference. I've watched a bunch of videos where people actually compared glasses, and this is what I just used to drink out of at the house. And I'm telling you, I used to use the Kool-Aid cups because those are my travel whiskeys, and I think it actually. But I didn't know.
Smelling this and smelling this,
I didn't know.
Can get
but
way
taste
better.
this. You can use that as a taste thing. Try that one compared to. I used to drink it by the gallons. To me. It'll leave a coating on the back of your tongue. It has more of that bourbon flavor. Where again, this isn't a bourbon; it's a Canadian whiskey, but it's a lighter. It reminds me of like a white cake. That's all I get out of this one, which I don't mind that. So going in, to me, this was more when I used to get the dark rum. And I stopped drinking it with Coke, and I just started drinking it straight. This reminded me of like the darker rum, like the Ron Roberto dark rum. Yeah, see, I used to do it all the time. Yeah, and it's almost like a sweet, because I had said that. You can actually drink the dark rum straight, and it's so sweet compared to half of the whiskeys you drink. Like they say drink whiskey straight, but the rum, it's like drinking candy. It's almost like going to a wine because it's so sweet. And to me, this one has that sweetness. But there's no darkness on it. It again, they say the smell and the flavor you get is what you get from your own history. So this is screaming to me like a white cake with white frosting. It gives me that happy, sweet. Like I've had a rum cake. Have you ever had a rum cake? And you get that hint of the rum in there, but you have that's what this reminds me of. I'm drinking a rum cake. That's what it actually reminds me of, with a white frosting. Like a rum cake with a white frosting. Not the one that Alice made one year that was like 151 rum and you couldn't even eat it. The one that I was sneaking files of because somebody would eat it. It was on the counter forever. But there was one that I wish Alice was watching because she'd get a kick out of it. Because do you remember that? I don't know if you were in the military or not.
I don't really remember that.
No, there was a time they brought over a rum cake for one of the times,
I missed that one.
And they were playing cards like they always did, and they were trying to eat it and they couldn't eat it. And like when they ran to the bathroom, and I run away, I grab a piece of it and I throw it in because I was underage, and that's what you do. You sneak alcohol, but don't do that, kids. That's bad for you. But to me, it's not a bad. No, yeah, it's not approved for kids. So if you're watching, shame on you, anyways. But yeah, overall,
you smell side by side. I don't know.
No, I still get that. This one to me. Take a good sip because this cup is bigger. I get vanilla more out of that one. Like I get like the vanilla vibe more than even caramel. I get or it's a Werther's caramel. It's not like a heavy caramel. It's like a Werther's candy caramel with a vanilla. That's what I get out of that one. But it's faint. It's very faint. But that's why like the knob to me has a lot more flavor and smell because again it's only $15 bottle and they actually make. And one of these days I'm going to get it because that's out of the Barton. Distiller down there, and they have, and I forget which one it is. It's one of the numbers, 1893. Actually, it says it on the
1792.
Says it on the side of the bottle. Established in 1879. I think there's one of the ones. Anyways, they have a higher brand, and I want to get it and see if it compares.
Bottle.
I'll have to look.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's like a oval kind of. Yeah, kind of like that one. But I mean, overall, I don't mind this at all. And for the $16.99, these are the ones that I used to drink all the time. The plastic bottle, get a handle for under $20. Get a handle, drink a handle. That's how I used to do it. So, but this is a great mixer though. I don't think. But to me, I don't know if it would even be. See, now that I've drank more straight, I would actually revert to like the 101 because it would have more punch through the Coke. Like I haven't drank a whiskey on Coke.
I think this would be good over ginger, and with ice. I would say that it would make a nice.
I think that's what was
That's
originally
probably
intended for.
right.
Correct. But drinking it straight, I don't. It's funny because it's because I've taken all the whiskeys and I've had my son smell them and I've had my wife smell them and I always get from her. But with everybody else, when you have it, I mean, they all have to me a different. And it's funny. I'll smell something and then he'll smell something totally different. He usually tells me eucalyptus in almost every one of the ones that I smell.
I don't get any of that.
I don't think he would say that in this one. To me, it so smells like that rum cake that I was sneaking off the counter. Because you get that hint of a cake, and you have that sweetness and lightness, but I don't get the caramel. See, to me, and that was the other reason why I used to do it. So I used to look at it as, okay, I'm just throwing it on the rocks and I'm drinking it. So as long as like you started with this bottle and you didn't come off of a different bourbon and drink it, to me that was fine, and I could drink that all day.
That's almost like
it was
if
delicious.
You're starting off with Bud Light and then you switch over.
Right,
Miller
the
Lite.
harshness.
It's
So
totally different beers.
So when I would go in different areas, you can usually find the Canadian one, and I haven't been in the Canadian section in a while. Because that was usually my last reserve. I would go like the bourbon. And if they were too expensive, I would go over to the Scotch because a lot of times you could find a lot of the Scotch ones that were cheaper. And then if I couldn't find that, then I would hit the Canadian.
Smoking cheap Scotch.
No, you can. You get the plastic bottles on the bottom. There's actually there's a handful of them that
I guess
actually.
I was just stupid and kept looking up.
Yeah, you got to go way on the bottom, and that's what I used to do. And I actually ended up started liking them because it gives you that little smoky flavor. But I would revert back to these. I've had this one, and I've actually had probably every plastic bottle Canadian whiskey because I used to travel the country. So then
Yeah, you were on whiskey.
So
and I was always on rum.
Right.
And
I would always buy the plastic ones because they could throw it in the trailer and I can drive it around and they're not crashing when they fall over. It doesn't matter. And then it just But I always stayed. A lot of times, if I bought them elsewhere, I would get the Canadian. So this one's a decent Canadian whiskey. I've never had an expensive Canadian whiskey. So this is what it reminds me of, and that's why when I said like the early times or the Trader Joe's, it reminded me of this, where it was like really smooth, not a lot of flavor. But this one is sweet to me. This one's a really sweet.
But not. It's not harsh. It's not like a
it's a flavor. Drink it right down sweet.
It's again, we don't want to use smooth because it's still whiskey, but it's
hands down smoother than anyone up there. Like it's
really
borderline drinking water. Like it's like drinking a soda. Like you have like the fizz.
Nah, I bet if we brought my wife up here, she's not gonna tell you you're drinking a soda, but she'll notice it.
I don't think. I think it would be
even your wife. She would say the same thing. She ain't drinking. She ain't drinking no soda.
No.
Here.
I think it is the easiest.
But it's not.
It's the easiest sipper we've had.
It's
so
not.
far.
Yeah, it's
but
not right.
I wouldn't. Me personally, if you're looking for the whiskey flavor, I mean, it's a Canadian whiskey though. It's totally different. It's totally different than the Tennessee whiskeys that they have, like with the charcoal filter and stuff. Even them, it has more of it has more of that. Hello, I'm a whiskey flavor than like this is like drink it right down and fill the glass back up. Drink it right down. Mm-hmm. Like it's like that's why I'm saying like more like drinking a soda.
If you had an ice cube,
like if you look at Ryan drink a soda, he's like. It hits them hard and the bubbles and all this stuff. Where that's what that reminds me of. It gives you a little bit of something, but not enough where like you're like, no, goes right down.
If you had that over ice in a few minutes,
it would melt right down, and you would drink it like it was the water in a glass.
I agree.
So and that's the difference. But overall, it'd be tough to say. I would probably have to put it like towards the end though. Like I don't know if it would beat out any of the ones that we have up there as far as flavor wise. Like is it drinkable? 100%. It goes right down, and I think it's smooth. But I don't know if it would. What one do you think it would go in front of?
I forget about early times.
Well, grab it. Go ahead and grab it. I don't have any in my glass.
I have some.
No, for me. Let me. You can smell it, and I'll drink it because I'm just kind of curious on. Because I remember this one not having as much of the it had
This is your
That's the early times.
this
Yep.
one is. That's the
See, to me, this, I'm smelling on purpose. To me, I get a caramel vanilla out of the 10 high on that one. And this is the early times. And see, this one, I'm getting
there's
the
more like a vanilla-y here.
out of the 10 high. And that's why I gravitated to it. Because for a $15 bottle, it gave you the most bourbon flavor. And then this one, you kind of, you don't get anything.
This one needs kind of smell like an alcohol, but it's not really
It's a cakey alcohol. I got to put a little bit more. It's super sweet. Like, to me, I'm getting, sorry, buddy, I'm throwing you all around over here. Yep, I'm going to move you anyways. This one, to me, smell-wise, it gives me a total different smell. It smells like a white rum. It really does. To me, it almost
I can't even help
borderlines.
you on that. As much rum as I drank, I never
Because
really...
you never smelled it. But see, I was drinking it, and it reminds me of, I shouldn't say a light rum. It was Ron Roberto, their dark one, and I drank it. And it reminded me just like that, where you had the... You get a little, it's sweet. This is super sweet.
This was 10 high.
That's
one
the
actually
10.
has a more of a smell to
That's
it.
what I'm saying. When you go
like
back, this has
alcohol-y.
You get the acetane, like the smell of, like it doesn't really have a flavor. This one has like a light caramel. That's why I said for $15, that was my bang for my buck. I got the most flavor and taste for the least amount of money, and that's why I always revert back to that one because that's why I did that one first because that was one that if you're gonna buy a plastic bottle, 100% you can find this anywhere from $15 to $17, and it was so much more flavor and taste than all the other ones that I had tried. And not that this is a bad one. If you start with it,
No,
it's not.
it's
sweet. Like
is.
it's easy, smooth, goes right down.
It would go. It's not bad.
You
by
could
itself.
mix it. You could drink it. You could throw it on ice, and it would hold its own.
But if you had a party, you don't care what they were doing.
The one bottle exactly. They
you're not
could
gonna-
pour
you're
it
not
with.
gonna You don't want Knob Creek, and then they're just gonna
Right,
splash it with everything.
Right, you got a $200, $300, $3,000 bottle. You're not going to put that out and let people. This one, you put it on the counter and you let them do what they want with it because it doesn't matter how they drink it.
Take your pick.
It's not it. So overall, it definitely deserves a spot on the shelf. I would have to say, which one was the early times? Was it this one?
Yeah.
I still think this one. Yeah, on this side.
As far as
COVID reasons,
I didn't drink that one. I don't think. What did I? I don't know.
then,
Smoothness wise,
drink on that side. This one reminds me more though. You're gonna get more. This one drinks down easier. This one hits you more like the Jack Daniels, where you feel it on the front, it sits on your tongue. But this one reminds me of like water, where I keep trying to say it flows on your tongue right down, and you don't. There's no finish. There's no aftertaste.
So I guess
there's no
that
follow
would
through.
depend what you're looking for.
So if you're looking for
want a
something you
harshness,
just gulp right down, this is your guy.
I would say
Where Canadian whiskey's usually that smooth like that.
That early times is in the JD and
It is.
best.
Where it gives you a little bit. So to me, mixer, I would rather have the early times the JD because it gives you more of a punch,
Right, you can taste
and
it.
it'll fight through the soda as opposed to this one just like
You put soda with that, you gotta think
it's going to dilute it.
You didn't get anything.
For a non-drinker, this would be great. But if you start drinking like you drink it straight now, and then you go put that
If
with
I
Coke,
got that in a restaurant,
you would be like, they didn't even put anything in here.
thank God I paid $8 for a Coke or a ginger ale.
That's exactly, yeah, there you go. So that's why I said before, you almost want the 101 because that flavor is going to kick through the actual Coke when you're doing a mixer. But would this be good? Is this a nice, easy, smooth shot?
I bet that'd be really good over a ball of ice.
100%. We can try that.
I think that's...
As a sipping whiskey. As a...
Yeah.
Yep, we're going to sip it down and...
I'm trying to think. Somebody I know used to drink this, and I can't remember. I don't know if it was the old time. Remember the old timer down the street that had the lumberyard?
Yeah.
I believe that was like one of his that he used to...
And again, there's a lot of people out there that do... And I've
Never
had...
washed his glass. Had the same glass out there forever.
It gets sterilized when you put the whiskey back in it.
And everything. He was happy as could be.
It's better with that.
I want to say it was him that loved that.
Again, and that's what happened. This is why I kind of doing the collection for any of that's still around. Thank you for watching anyways, because we're going long on this one. But when it comes to certain ones that's why, I always gravitated to, okay, I'm going to go back. So I would grab it. This is the fun part of doing this, is you really can contrast how much difference in flavor each one of these. There's not one on the other way you can be like, oh, these are exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like a huge difference in flavor. And that's the fun part of doing that. So for those of you that are watching that are actually curious on it, this is why I actually started this, was because, not that I know what I'm talking about, other than the fact that,
and it's an expensive hobby.
Right, but you know what's good and what's not, but this is not bad.
We don't, we're just kind of really,
It's a matter of taste.
I think this is only the second Canadian whiskey I've ever had.
Yeah, see, I've had a bunch of them.
And
is this good Canadian whiskey? Probably not. But is it still good whiskey? Yeah. Like, I could drink it right down. Like, this isn't, I'm going to pour this down the drain because it's so disgusting I can't drink it. This is good. Mm-hmm. And in a worst case, you would mix it. But I don't even find this mixable. Like, to me, I think it's so soft.
I think it would be good, like I said, over ice.
Over ice. Where just that little bit of water would you could drink it right down.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is the longest one yet, so we're going to let you go on that one. But, if you liked what you saw, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching if you're still here. And once again, spend less, drink more. Cheers.
Cheers.